Hi everyone. Today's presentation focuses on Volkswagen clean diesel scandal, an important case in our business ethics project. So let's start with the introduction with the company itself. So Volkswagen was founded by the German Labor Front in 1937. Their vision is to be so effective that we are able to help others. And their mission is to deliver affordable, reliable, innovative vehicles to customers around the world. Volkswagen offers a wide range of automobile products, including passenger cars, commercial vehicles, and their latest line of products, which are electrical vehicles. Now, let's take a look at how ethical failures damage this global brand, starting with the stakeholders.
Moving on to stakeholder analysis, starting off with customers. So Volkswagen misled consumers by marketing its diesel cars as environmentally friendly under Volkswagen's campaign Clean Diesel, leading buyers to pay premium prices for what they believed were low-emission, high-performance vehicles. However, the company had installed illegal defeat devices to cheat emission tests, exposing customers to financial losses, which involved lower resale value, as well as the recall costs and emotional betrayal. Moving on to government. So, Volkswagen deceived regulators by falsifying emissions data during tests, compromising systems designed to protect public health. The scandal caused severe reputational damage and eroded public trust in both corporations and regulatory bodies. Crucially, it required emissions testing to be redesigned globally to prevent future fraud. In addition, governments have had to expend massive legal and administrative resources to penalize Volkswagen via lawsuits and fines. So in terms of the community, due to the result of Volkswagen's actions, the public was exposed to environmental and health issues caused by diesel vehicles. The increased emissions from the vehicles were up to 40 times higher than the legal standard. The low-income families are some examples of those who were heavily affected, as the public was not aware of the risks that they were subject to, as the exposures were involuntary and unjust. This breach of trust affected not only Volkswagen's customers, but public health in general, making this something that extended beyond a corporate scandal to a public one. Next, we'll talk about the employees. So employees working in various departments, including engineers who were involved in designing and installing these defeat devices, were affected by the crisis. This had a serious effect on employees that were not directly involved, causing the ones who are innocent to lose their jobs. As a result, this caused a hit on the workers' morale and professionalism, as the employees felt betrayed by the very organization they believed in. The executives that approved the falsification of emissions data were also found to be criminally culpable, hence causing massive reputational damage to the company. In addition, whistleblowers and toxic corporate culture at Volkswagen became a central topic as a result of the scandal. Lastly, the shareholders. Volkswagen ended up paying billions of dollars in fines and settlements, with the stockholders themselves incurring significant financial losses, with the company's share value crashing. At the same time, the world recognition of the brand was jeopardized. So, the stockholders considered the debacle a vivid leadership failure, which played a significant role in the financial position and future perspective of the organization. So moving on to ethical theory, we'll start off with meta-ethics, talking about cognitivism. Through a cognitive perspective, Volkswagen's clean diesel advertising campaign was a clear ethical violation because it made deliberate and objectively false factual claims, with Volkswagen's advertisements asserting verifiable claims about low emissions and environmental friendliness as objective truths when that was not the case. Volkswagen itself knew these claims were categorically false due to the use of illegal defeat devices that they used to cheat emission tests. This intentional deception was an absolute contradiction of their marketing, making it an unethical lie and therefore a violation of moral truth, hence making it a willful attempt at misleading their customers for profit. making this scandal a demonstration of cognitivism's effectiveness at denouncing such behavior based on the provable inaccuracy of factual claims framed as moral ones. So now we'll be moving on to my next colleague. Thank you.
The next ethical theory that can be applied in this case is egoism. Egoism is an ethical theory that focuses on acting in self-interest. It emphasizes what benefits the individuals or the organization the most, often ignoring the well-being of others. In business especially, egoism can lead to profit-driven strategies that sacrifice ethical standards. Volkswagen's action clearly reflects egoism in this case. They installed defeat devices in their diesel car to cheat emission tests, so vehicles appears to be eco-friendly. Instead of redesigning their engines, which would have been costly, they choose deception over everything else. They prioritize short-term profit and brand reputation over public health and environmental responsibility. This gave them a false competitive edge while misleading customers and regulators.
Another ethical theory that can be applied would be deontology. Version 1, Universal Law. Volkswagen falsely claimed that their diesel cars were environmentally friendly while cheating the emission tests. If all companies lied in order to maximize profits, this way, trust in advertising and the business would collapse as a whole. Their actions violated the moral duty to tell the truth, and their actions did not meet the universal ethical standards. Version 2, Humanity Law. Under this version, it can be said that Volkswagen misled their customers and authorities for profit. This led to major trust issues, and so people's rights to truthful information were breached. The company disrespected and failed to treat people with dignity and provide truthful information. And in conclusion, both universal and humanity law condemns Volkswagen's actions as unethical, although the humanity law is more critical as it focuses on respecting individuals' rights and dignity. Volkswagen's deception harmed millions by denying them truthful information needed for informed choices, violating their trust and well-being. Humanity law centers on the real human impact and demands accountability for disrespecting them directly. This makes it a more relevant and powerful ethical measure of Volkswagen's moral failure, showing how profit was prioritized over fundamental human rights and ethical responsibility.
Now we'll be talking about the next ethical theory that was found in this case, which is ethics of rights and justice. First of all, we'll be talking about consumer rights. Consumer rights were violated in this scandal as Volkswagen were misleading them into buying their environmentally friendly vehicles. But in reality, the vehicles were polluted up to 40 times the legal limit. It's understood that it was against the customer's rights to be properly informed and have the freedom of choice. Next, we'll be talking about environmental rights. By allowing the clean diesel vehicles to emit up to 40 times the legal limit of nitrogen oxide, polluting the air, this led to a fundamental violation of the universal right to a safe and healthy environment. This is a serious offense because the nitrogen oxide emissions might contribute to respiratory disease like asthma and bronchitis. Moving on to employee rights. The company betrayed their employees by creating a dishonest work environment that pressured workers to help cheat on emission tests, while failing to protect those who wanted to report the wrongdoing. This violates the employees' basic rights to a fair, honest, and safe workplace. Next is compensatory justice. Volkswagen had an ethical responsibility to provide fair compensation to all parties harmed by its emissions cheating, including car owners, governments, and the general public. The company ultimately paid more than 30 billion in fine, vehicle buybacks, and legal settlements, which represented an attempt to make amends through financial compensation. However, many argue these penalties did not go far enough, as they failed to properly account for the long-term environmental damage caused by the excess pollution or repair the damage to public trust in corporation. The absence of prison sentences for top executives also raises serious concerns about whether real accountability was achieved, since true justice requires proportional consequences for those responsible. This case demonstrates the difficult balance between monetary penalties and moral responsibilities when addressing corporate misconduct, showing how complex it can be to deliver proper justice in cases of large-scale businesses wrongdoing.
And now I'm talking about the conjugal theory, duty to comply. Volkswagen had the agreement with the Environmental Protection Agency to follow the environmental law, but instead of following the law, they used a hidden software to cheat the carbon emission test. This clearly broke the rules and their responsibility to follow the law. According to the duty to comply theory, they failed to do what was right and legal. And duty to disclose. In any honest business, information must be shared, especially if it affects a customer decision. Also going to tell their customer that their car passed the calculation test because of their special software. They had a tool just to sell their car. This goes against the duty to disclose because people have the right to know what they are really buying. Judy to not misrepresent, Volkswagen said their diesel car were clean and good for their environment, but that wasn't true. They gave people the wrong idea on purpose. This is called false advertising, and it's break the trust between the company and the public. Judy not to misrepresent means business must always tell the truth about their product.
So, for my ethical recommendation for cognitivism is to propose an auditing system whereby Volkswagen should employ a truly independent third party with full access and whistleblower protection to rigorously audit and thoroughly investigate all current engineering practices, testing protocols, and certification processes, followed by publishing the unbiased findings along with a corrective action plan, as a means of allowing some transparency into the ongoings of the company's testing and design processes. So, from a business standpoint, this protects the brand of Volkswagen while reducing the risk of legal consequences regarding any fraudulent actions in the future. Thank you.
To prevent such scandal in the near future, Volkswagen should implement strong internal ethical oversight. You might be asking why? Well, simply because this focus on short-term gain resulting in major losses in trust, finances, and of course brand image. While their egoistic choice damaged long-term standing relationship with stakeholders especially. Here are the key ethical recommendations, which is the whistleblower protection, which to allow employees to report unethical behavior safely. Next is a transparent cooperative governance with oversight from ethical committees. And next one is accountability mechanism like regular ethical audits, balanced profit and ethics, which aligns with business goals with long-term trust and sustainability. And finally, ethical conduct can actually become a strategic advantage, boosting investors' confidence and customers' loyalty.
Another ethical recommendation that can be done within the company would be training all employees involved in advertising and sales on ethical marketing focused on honesty, transparency, and legal compliance, all under conclusive ethical advertising training programs. In addition, they should include frequent assessments and clear reporting channels for advertising integrity issues, whilst they must promote a culture of sincerity and accountability to reduce future violations. Last but not least, they must restore stakeholder confidence through truthful and responsible marketing practices.
Another ethical recommendation is restoring rights and justice. In order to enforce ethical concepts of rights and justice, Volkswagen should replace all cheated customers, finance environmental cleanups in the harmful areas, secure whistleblowers, enforce real-life emissions testing, and make executives personally accountable, formally transparency, accountability, and recovery to all the wrong parties.
In session 4.5, I'm gonna talk about Volkswagen commitment to ethical accountability and contractual compliance. Yes, first Volkswagen must fully acknowledge its past action and take clear responsibility. This means not just accepting blame, but committing to honest, transparent business practice and following all environmental regulations. Misleading advertisements must be eliminated. Instead, the company should provide clear and honest information to customers to regain their trust. Importantly, ethics must come before profit. By applying principles for contextual theory, improving internal control, Volkswagen can reduce the risk of future issues and show genuine commitment to a long-term integrity.
To conclude, Volkswagen's Dieselgate scandal showed a serious ethical failure by prioritizing profit over honesty, the environment, and stakeholder trust. The company's deception harmed customers, regulators, and the public, revealing a culture that ignored ethics. In order to rebuild trust, Volkswagen must adopt strong ethical oversights, transparency, and put social responsibility before profits.